Hornby's new Trans-Pennine Express Class 802 has arrived, hounded by delays, dogged by price increases, but is this gorgeous train worth buying into? Let's take a closer look at the Nova 1. Hello and welcome once again to my layout New Junction, and of course to the latest piece of rolling stock to join the fleet here on the layout, and it's none other than Hornby's Trans-Pennine Express Class 802. Right, first announced in 2022 with an RRP I believe of £394 and a release date of Q4 in the same year. Wind the clock forward 3 years and here it is with an RRP of £550. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we'll DCC fit it, we'll get it running, and we'll see if what they've done to it over that delay has been worth the wait. I'm looking forward to it. Now it comes to getting the loco ready for the layout. So I have gone and opted for the HM DCC TXS chips, the Bluetooth chips. Now, in theory, these should be plug and play, and I've figured I normally like to go for sort of aftermarket chips, but Hornby have put the effort in to redesign the PCB, etc., and bring this system out. So let's give it a go. I won't be using the Bluetooth mode, and there are plenty of videos out there showing you what to do with that. And I probably won't be putting in the speaker at this stage, but I thought, if nothing else, I'll go with the Hornby chip. And one plus, of course, is they do the plug and play power banks. Now, this is a stay alive capacitor, a very little one, but a stay alive capacitor that should just plug in, and as it says on the packet, should give you 9 seconds of stay alive, which for my track is more than enough. And here we go, all the components are ready. Right, the bottom has come off the 802, and as you can see, we've got the new PCB with the various ports for the accessories. Then you've got the DCC blanking chip. Now this will be replaced with the 21 pin. On the chip itself, you have extra ports. Now the chip will go this way on. The port that's on the top is for the speaker, if you'd like to use the speaker, and the port that's on the bottom is for the power bank. So unlike me, it was left scratching my head for far too long, thinking the power bank didn't fit in the top port. There is one on the other side. There's also a speaker port here as well. So there we are. I've moved the camera to a slightly better position, and as you can see, it is absolutely stunning. It's a real centerpiece locomotive for the layout in certain. I think the Trans-Pennine Express livery is probably one of the nicest looking liveries on the network today. Now, feel free to let me know if you disagree in the comments, but I think this stands out a mile, and I think anything in the TPE livery is going to do very well. So no pressure, Hornby. So Hornby started the Class 800 range with the LNER Azuma 800 sets and the GWR train packs, and we saw a flurry of them. They sort of kept coming, particularly the GWR versions, and then they announced the Trans-Pennine Express livery and the Lumo livery. The latter two obviously have been delayed by somewhat. The Lumo one, as I'm filming this, is still to arrive, and that should be in the next month or so. Being fair to Hornby, there's probably a variety of good reasons why they have delayed it and reasons why they probably should delay it, and they've not rested on their laurels. To be fair to them, they have improved it on the original designs. So let's take a closer look at some of the features and see if it was worth the wait. The same spec stands. You've got forward and rear lighting. You've got coach lighting with capacitors. They're now on pogo sticks connectors, which makes them far more reliable. So you tend not to get the flicker you did in the earlier versions. I believe as well the earlier 800 class were 8-pin DCC as well, rather than the 21-pin you see today. Being an 802 rather than an 800 or an 801, you do have subtle differences to the tooling, so there's extra bits. So the coaches have more on their roofs, etc. Just little things like that. And of course, being a Bobo wheel arrangement, these will pretty much go around any corners, and of course they go around my tightest radius 2 corners, so no problem with running so far with this unit. Kinematic couplings, again, work really well. Pull the coaches together, so when it's in a straight line up like it is here, probably 2 or 3 mil in between the coaches, and then of course it pulls apart to be able to go around corners, so very nicely done there. Extra details such as the pantograph is very basic, and it's also plastic rather than a metal arrangement. It's not motorised, but it can be positioned in the up or down position. It's a tiny bit fiddly, but it works for Hornby, and to be fair, if you are like me and clumsy and you decide to smash into a tunnel mouth with an ill-prepared pantograph, it'll just ping off rather than damage anything, apart from the pantograph itself, and I'm sure that'll be a spare which is readily available should you need a new one. So the motor car is weighty, and I don't know if it's just me, I've not got any scales, but it does feel heavier than the LNER version I have as well on the layout. It has no problem pulling its 5-car arrangement. I have heard, because of the ever so slightly, whether it be stiff or draggy wheel sets, that it will struggle if you were to double it up or go for a 9-car arrangement with, say, the LNER version or the GWR 9-car version. They may struggle without a bit of tinkering, a bit of fettling. It seems to be a simple solution of just a tiny bit of lubrication on the axles, etc., just to get them going, and a nice bit of running in. But yeah, it was noted. So I've just pulled my LNER variant into the picture. Now, in real life, there are some subtle differences. So the number 1 end on the LNER Azuma has 3 windows blanked on each side. Now, luckily for Hornby, this blocks out the motor in the front compartment. Unfortunately, on the Transpennine version, you only have 2 blocked out windows in real life, and then the 3rd window is actually smoky black. It's hard to tell whether the window has actually been smoked out anymore. However, because it's clear, you can actually see the flywheel on the inside of this window. It's difficult. This was ultimately a compromise from the project manager in charge of the 800. And it's always a case, if you've got to compromise somewhere, do you either go for the 2 covered windows and block out this window with either a very heavy smoke effect, or do you block out another window, or do you leave it as it is so you can see the flywheel? But because it's different, there's obviously been a decision made there, and this is what we have to go with. And to be honest, when it's flying round, you can't really see it, but because it's a flywheel that does spin and does catch the light, you do see it ever so slightly. Now, of course, it's all well and good having the Azuma next to the TPE, but I know what everyone's thinking at home and everyone wants to know, because it's the most common question I've seen online, is how does it match to Dapol's Class 68 and the Accurascale Mark 5s in the same livery? Luckily, I have both. Let's find out. And just like that, we've got the Transpennine Express options for double O gauge. So we have the Accurascale Mark 5s at the back, obviously the 802, and then the Dapol Class 68. Now, colour-wise, they are different. So what I've tried to do now, this is my lighting here is fairly yellow, sort of T8 bulbs, which, to be fair, pick up blue quite well. So you can see there is a obvious difference between the 802 and the other 2. Now, the other 2 actually match quite well on the camera. In reality, the sort of blue here matches the Dapol very closely. However, they are different still. But in reality, if you ever see a photo of the metallic finish. You can see that depending on the light you take it in, depends on the sort of depth of colour you get. So it's very hard to replicate that in model form, which is why we get so many different versions of the same colour. That said, they look smashing together, to be honest. To my eye, I don't think it's different enough to really worry about, to be honest. It doesn't look wrong, even though it's a different colour blue. I'm quite happy, and hopefully this will answer a lot of questions for a lot of people, because this, as I said, was the most common question I've seen. How do they stack up? And there we go, the Hornby 802. Now, the summary. So, there's no getting around the fact that it is £550 at RRP. Realistically, you're not going to be paying that in the shops. You'll be paying a good chunk less. However, it is still a very considered purchase. Only highlighted because you have to buy chips for each end as well. And of course, if you do what I do and add a Stay Alive, that's on top as well. The Hornby HM7000 chips, while £70 each, are very expensive when you've just spent best part of £500 on the train pack. It's actually very good value in terms of aftermarket sound. So because in theory the sound is free, you could use their Bluetooth control system as well. I think that works quite well. And if it came with the train pack, and the train pack was just more expensive, again, I think we'd be celebrating the technology that comes on board and accepting the price. And looking across the board at other manufacturers, other units that are coming, things like that, I think currently, bearing in mind a Hornby HST pack, which has an RRP of £400 for the two ends, in effect, £100 more for 3 coaches, doesn't sound that bad. So, there's no beating around the bush. It's a lot of money, but I think it's worth it, and definitely worth saving up for if this fits your layout. And there we go, we've come to the end of our overview of the new Hornby Nova 1. I want to say a big thank you to you at home for watching. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed, you can click the button down below, completely free, and you'll never miss a video. Thank you very much to the channel Patreons and members, it's very much appreciated, as always. And of course, I want your comments, so do let me know what you think. Do you think it's too expensive? Do you think it's good value for money? Do let me know what you think on the colours, the running. Do you have one? Do you think you'll get one? Or do you think you've been put off because of the various price rises and delays that we get with these models? Right, I'm off to do something rather different in the next video, but watch this space. I'll see you next time.